This is pretty gay.
You're gay! Dude, what the hell? You broke my intro. I just got rid of the fire on that thing.
Well, that's what you get for calling something with literally no gender gay.
I mean, technically, if you're only attracted to people without genders, then...
Whatever. Can't you just make a new one?
Fine, jeez. Let's see. Carry the 3... and... Get down! You know what? Fine. I've got video games to play. I haven't done anything in Dragonball Xenoverse in a while.
Oh yeah, I actually found a video about Xenoverse 2 that you might want to check out.
Sounds interesting. Tell me about it, Robot Man.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Rkader 11. Some dingus who thinks the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 will automatically suck.
Holy fuck, are you fucking shitting me? Let's get started. Okay, right out of the gate, we start with a generic as fuck title card. Granted, not that I had any expectations outside of that, and it's least short. And then a Windows Movie Maker title on top of about 7 seconds of silence and blackness. And then the rant starts. Dude, I get it. You got somebody to make the first part of the title card for pretty much all of your videos, better than trying to be fancy with Windows Movie Maker and failing at least. But then you fucked it by taking more than half the amount of time it took to show the name of the video. You could have just put that on top of the image and just started talking. There was absolutely no reason to waste time and bore me like that.
Oh my goodness. Damn, I can't believe you're doing this again. Holy shit.
Another immediate problem. Am I going to have to break out the 10 seconds in cliche? I don't want to break out the 10 seconds in cliche.
Actually, it was 25 seconds.
Stop ruining my fucking jokes. Anyway, that background noise. I don't know what the fuck you're playing with while you record this, but stop. Please stop. It's distracting as all hell, makes your already abysmal audio sound worse, and more important, it scares the orphans. And let me make this clear. You do not want to scare the orphans.
What is up, my Rkadettes? It's the Rkader 11 here. You can tell by the title of the video, you guys are gonna know I'm gonna be ranting about this abysmal atrocity that's been announced.
Okay, first of all, anti-hype is bad, and I'll elaborate more on that later, but Rkadettes? Fucking Rkadettes? Congratulations! You win the award for cringiest fanbase pet name in history! And by the way, I don't think it's a good idea to give your fanbase a pet name with less than 100 subscribers. I should know. I did it once. Fucking booners. That shit was so cringe.
Dragonball Xenoverse 2. I am fucking pissed that a shit game like Xenoverse is getting a sequel a year after the first game was released. You gotta think about that.
Not very hard, apparently. The average development cycle for a game takes a year and a half, assuming you're not working on pre-existing code or assets. The game not only has pre-existing code and assets, but is currently estimated to release in Japan this winter. Links in the description. And the only way for the game to release even a year and a half after the first one is for it to come out in August of this year. You know, before winter. I mean, we're not talking about a Scott Cawthon release here. I'm pretty sure it's not going to jump up on us that fucking hard.
That the first game that was completely shit, that got so much hype just to be disappointing, and now it's getting a sequel a year after.
Well, you said it yourself. It got a lot of hype, sold a lot of copies, and now it's getting a sequel. Which is something a lot of people who played the game wanted after enjoying the concept but finding that they wanted more out of it. Link to ProJared's review in the description, because what he says is exactly what I just told you.
I'm all like, see, this is why I fucking hate when it comes to new DBZ games. They don't know how to capture the atmosphere of the previous games, which was basically the Boonslayer series. The last good Dragon Ball Z game my eyes was Burst Limit, a very underrated game at that.
Okay, so now we get into the actual opinion here. So here's why this shows that you're completely and utterly biased. Burst Limit, like the original Budokai trilogy, was a side perspective traditional fighting game, as opposed to Budokai Tenkaichi's behind the back perspective. It was also a fighting game, so since you think that's the only type of game the Dragon Ball should have, even though Legacy of Goku, let's ignore other genres. All but one of them used the behind-the-back perspective from the Spike games except for one, Infinite World, a successor to Budokai that also has burst limit mechanics. Why is that one not good to you? It's a combination of gameplay of two games that you actually like. And for that matter, keep in mind the Spike games. I mean, if he doesn't like that style, fair enough, but let's just say that at least one of his reasons for Xenoverse being bad are going to bite him in the ass if he's biased against Spike's style.
And the fact that people are now hyping it up after they went on to hate it after the reviews and how bad the game was when they played it for themselves is abysmal to me.
Once again, I direct you to ProJared's review. Your argument is invalid. And don't try to play the whole "it's my opinion" card here either, because that already got sent to the wayside when you said the fact that other people were hyped after they played the first game was abysmal. Oh yeah, by the way, Xenoverse had better review scores than Burst Limit and therefore is, according to your logic, a game you should not be sickened by people getting hyped for.
And it's basically just going to be the same shit, just with a bigger roster. I mean, I doubt they'll fix the abysmal controls and combat and AI response that was in the previous game. Because that's one of the main reasons why I hated Xenoverse. The AI in Xenoverse was fucking retarded as shit. At times, you'll be flying and it'll go from one edge to the stage to the end of it.
Okay, first of all, that's not an example of AI. That would be an example of something bad within the game and might be an example of control issues, but your placement of the phrase implies that it's an AI issue. Second, having played the game myself, all you have to do is attack in order to stop, even if you're nowhere near your opponent. Oh, and by the way, letting go of the stick also lets you stop. I'm aware that I'm only one example, and it may be post-launch patches that make the gameplay work better for me. But to refuse to factor those over a year after release, and to refuse to acknowledge the fact that they patched it would prove that they know how to avoid this issue in the next installment, is straight up dumb sauce.
Or at times when you attack, you literally face through your opponent. Or at times, your opponent can literally break a guard when you literally have a guard up. A very strong one at that.
Okay, now I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I've never even heard of this issue with attacks phasing through your opponent. Unless that's the opponent's hitbox being slightly smaller than the model, but that happens to a certain degree in almost every fighting game, and most of the time only happens when you land only a grazing hit. But no, I've never failed to receive feedback when I hit dead on. Of course, there's also instant transmission and after image, which are supposed to do that. As for breaking a guard, those are called attacks that break your guard. I don't know what you're talking about with a strong one at that, since blocking doesn't come in different strengths, but attacks that can break your block are slower, giving you a chance to stop blocking and counterattack instead. And more importantly, this was in both the Budokai games and Burst Limit.
Then there's this shitty broken power-up system where you can power up your damn self-insert and be fucking mad OP as hell.
You mean the fact that you create a character and go through a unique story that blends the pre-existing story of Dragon Ball Z with new original material? You mean the things that DBZ fans have wanted for years and now finally have? You mean the primary selling point of the whole fucking game? You are aware that this game is a hybrid RPG, right? Oh wait, that makes it bad. GG, get the Doritos off my keyboard. I'm gonna go buy some capsules. Why am I tanking? I'm not even a fucking demo lock.
I was like, that was one of my biggest turnoffs from Xenoverse. I was like, no, fuck this game. Cause I'm mad that I wasted $80. $80 thrown out the window for a game such as Xenoverse because of the fact that I was blinded by my inner Dragon Ball fanboy that couldn't admit that the series was flawed and had pretty average to mediocre writing after the Cell Saga.
Okay, I know in a previous commentary I got onto someone for saying that people should have known stuff, but this was the entire promotion of the game. You should have known that this game was going to be all about character creation. And by the way, what does the writing of Dragon Ball Z have to do with the quality of this game when it doesn't have anything to do with burst limit or Budokai being bad? By the way, I like the Buu Saga, and I didn't spend $80 on this because I was somewhat skeptical. So that $80 thing really sounds like a personal problem.
Let me get some water real quick. Good water is good for you.
Did that just happen?
Oh, it was an insult. Because it was made by Dimps. And Dimps was responsible for the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series, which was one of the most creative Dragon Ball Z games I ever played. Because of how they have so many what-if scenarios, good combat system, unique and varied combat systems for characters. Good, unique, good balancing between them. It was all fucking fun.
And Xenoverse isn't creative when it has new characters and new writing. You know what? No. Let's look at that at face value. What if scenarios? Yeah, it's not like Dragon Ball Xenoverse is built around a what if scenario. It's not like the tagline at the end of Xenoverse 2 implies that you now get to create those what if scenarios. It's not like nearly every side quest is the game is a what if scenario. Dear Diary, fuck off. You're clearly full of shit. Stop cheating on me with the Death Note. Characters that play differently. In Budokai, outside of special moves, nope, not at all. And by the way, characters in Xenoverse also have distinct styles based on special moves, including your OP self-insert. And finally, characters being balanced in Budokai.
Then we have another game that was someone like Dragon Ball, the Budokai series with burst limits. That's very underrated. And I thought it could have been that we got instead of Xenoverse 2. But no, we have to cash in on the Dragon Ball fandom's blind nostalgia towards a series that's been milked to death and is like a dry fish flapping for water on the coast of a shore for 3 days to come because of the fact that we can't admit that these games suck.
You do realize that your statement still applies if they were to make a new burst limit game, right? In other words, because it's something you specifically don't want, they're milking the franchise. But if they made the game you specifically wanted, then it wouldn't be milking the franchise at all. Your bias is showing. I already told you about the orphans. You're embarrassing me in front of the entire country club.
Mind telling me what kind of drugs you're on and if they work on robots?
I've already been attacked by a bunch of Dragon Ball fanboys that I called out how bad. Well, I said the game going to be garbage, and it will be garbage, based on the first one. I asked someone, "How can you anti-hype a game when it hasn't come out? How can I? I can anti-hype it due to its first installment being utter shit, and the fact that it's being released a year after its first installment."
All reasoning I've already debunked. So now let me just go ahead and debunk your entire anti-hype mindset, since I've already proven you don't have a real reason for it. Yes, hype culture is bad because it leads to disappointment and anger. However, anti-hype culture is just as bad because it leads to not allowing companies to try to do, anything, and just locking yourself in a nostalgia box and never giving a chance to something that might be good. Hell, when Xenoverse came out, I fell into the very same trap, thinking that the game was going to not be good because the DBZ franchise has done character creation before in the form of Ultimate Tenkaichi, and it was not very good, so like I said, I was skeptical. You know what I did when I was skeptical? I didn't immediately buy the fucking collector's edition. How hard is that to understand? Judge a game based on what you know about it and whether or not you are likely to enjoy it or not. And here's a crazy idea. Maybe not buy it day one if you have doubts. So there's my advice. If you're going to get so butthurt over a game that doesn't fit your narrow view of a game you'll like, then maybe you should think a little harder before you buy something.
That was some pretty generic advice.
Well, you got anything better?
Yeah. Get good.
Maybe you just got pricked.
Hey!
Oh, hey MTR, what are you doing here?
It later.
And I